Go away, Simple Story, Alex. Jesus. Copyright strike on YouTube for using simple RPG music.
Buyer's remorse.
Hello, and welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Darren.
I'm Justin.
And today I picked a game for Justin to play that's been sitting in his library for a while now, and he had to play it for 60 minutes and see how it turned out. Hopefully it was better than the last one, which was a nice choice. What did I choose for you this time?
Well, you chose one that's been sitting in your library as well for a while, which is Mirrormoon EP.
Oh, God, yeah. I actually have played this.
Have you played it?
Yeah.
Okay. Developer and publisher, I'm not sure the exact pronunciation. It looks like Santa Regione. It has mixed reviews, but only 290 reviews to go off of. And its release was back in September of 2013.
I didn't realize it was that old.
It is a game about space exploration. And apparently, if you find things first, you get to name them.
Yeah.
But you have to name them within the season. So it looks as though we're on season 112 as I played it.
Okay.
So you have played this game?
I have, yes.
Okay. There is a lot of puzzle element to this game. That's definitely going to be spoiled. So if you want to go into this game completely fresh, knowing nothing, well, now's the time to turn away. I don't think I'll give you too much, though. I only played for an hour, and a lot of that time was me trying to figure out what I was doing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
How long did you play for?
Hours.
Okay, interesting. You start off looking at a huge... Well, once you get through the menu and everything, you actually start the game. There's a huge control panel in front of you. You're not actually in a spaceship. You're just kind of out in space with stars behind you. But there's a control panel in front of you with so many buttons and zero explanation. So you have to start just pushing everything and trying it. I accidentally took myself out of the game twice because there's a button set that is escape, essentially. There are two that just seem to change the music. There are a bunch of switches you have to turn on to do something. And eventually I clicked the right stuff so that I immediately was on a planet. And I put it as you jump cut. Now you're on the planet.
Yeah.
The look of the game is very polygonal with very basic colors, I guess, as far as shading. There's not a lot of... I mean, there is and there isn't. It's just maybe the way they've done it. It looks very basic, but perhaps it's not. It's just very weird. You're there at night and you're walking around. And here's the thing. You have just played Outer Wilds.
Yeah, it's not Outer Wilds.
It's not Outer Wilds, but it seems like a similar concept in the fact that it is exploration, that you told me that there's not a lot of explanation as far as what to do. You definitely have that here. You basically just have to walk around and figure it out. They do give you basically how to walk around, and when you pick up a new power of some kind, it does usually give you a text hint as to what you're supposed to be doing, but it's often vague and confusing. The planet, though it is small, or maybe it's a moon, I'm not sure. It's called Mirrormoon, so maybe I'm on two different moons. But the thing is, what you'll eventually figure out is that when you start finding things like... Alright, so you walk around, you only get to see this pseudo-portal gun thing that you're carrying. But you can eventually find a pyramid with a triangle inside it, or like another small pyramid. When you pick that up, it gets attached to the gun, and now you can control the moon in the fact that you can rotate it around.
Yeah.
You can see an arrow that represents you on the moon and the direction that you're facing, so you can kind of use it as a map to figure out where other stuff is on the moon or planet that you're on. So then you go around and there's another rectangular building that will have a sort of cage that goes around the triangle. This allows you to, I think this is the one that allows you to grab the moon and move it around. But boy, did I not understand what was going on there for a long time. It said something about click on this and drag the moon, and I didn't know what it was talking about or how to do it. The movement in the game is very awkward as well. It's forward, back, left, right. using the WASD keys, but it's not a left-right where you are shifting left to right or strafing left to right. You're literally turning. And you can't look up, you can't look around.
Yeah, that's a problem in the game.
Those are used for moving the moon around. So
yeah,
it's very difficult to not only realize where you are, but to look around to see where everything is. And there's not a whole lot as far as landmarks to help you realize, am I going in the right direction or not? You do pick up something that allows you to point a light, and that does make it a little bit easier, but it is still difficult.
Because it seems like there's some structures that are invisible.
Yes. So when you first start, the only things I think you find at first are these pillars, these dark pillars. And in my version, on season 112, it's like Pillar of Philip, Pillar of... I'm trying to think who the other one was.
Pillar of Philip.
Yeah. Pillar of Stanislav, Pillar of Yuri, right? So those pillars are what you start off with, and then things start to appear. That's when you can get the triangle pyramid from the pyramid building, the cage thing from the rectangular building. And then, yes, once you get those kind of things, then you need to start looking for other things which are sort of invisible. So there are rings that appear in the sky, and I walked to the center of them, and I could see a ghostly image of a building, but couldn't really make it work until I have to do this whole thing where you move the moon away to make it light, and move the moon back to make it dark. You're blocking the sun. You're either making an eclipse or not an eclipse. So some things appear only in the daytime, some things only appear at the nighttime. So you have to go back and forth between these things. And that's the way it was, at least in the first hour with a lot of this. You just have to keep guessing and changing things around and hoping that you're going to notice what has changed.
Yes.
Because what you're also going to find is that once you do start finding some of these buildings, you need to walk into the buildings and it will take one of those powers away from you. So it will take the pointing a light marker away from you. But it does that because you need to take the moon, which is a mirror of what you've done, take the light point that you put on it and connect that to the light point coming out of the building and building that sort of bridge of light, which will open up the next piece of the puzzle. You have a building that totally disappears and reappears. It's almost as though everything has to be in a very specific place. I had to move the moon around until I just noticed, oh, this building seems to appear and disappear depending on the position. So get it in just the right position and then get there. But most of my time was just walking around, either lost or having no idea what I was supposed to be doing.
So, I mean, when did you start piecing it together then? Versus like you going in blind, going, what the hell am I doing? To like, oh, I finally got a handle on this.
I don't know that I ever truly got a handle on it.
Well, it sounds like you got pretty far.
I only got a handle on what was going on with each step of the way. So, for example, when I first started in exploring, I had no idea what I was doing at all. I didn't even know that the moon reflected what was going on with me. I walked around until I happened to see one of the pillars that were dark, and I walked through it, and it lit up, and I went, okay, I need to do this. But then I had no idea what the next step was. And then I did kind of figure out, oh, I can move the moon around. Or maybe I couldn't. I had to get the pyramid building. So I basically had to look around the moon, move the moon around, and go, okay, that's where something is. There's a blue structure. I need to walk that direction and sort of guess my way through. Yeah. And then once I had that, so it really was each step of the way. I understood it only after I had done the step, after I had gotten it. One of the worst was this building that shoots out these rays of triangles. And I really had no idea what was going on there at all. Eventually, I did figure out right towards the end, in fact, kind of just after my hour, I figured out that there is a way to make this work. Again, it's this whole like moving it day to night and following in the right steps. And so this ghostly image of a semicircular thing, I was able to make that work. So I'd given up basically everything else I had to get this blue sphere at the end of my gun. That blue sphere, I had to walk through these other structures that just appeared, these doorways, which built a bridge. And that bridge then, after I walked on it, took me back to the control panel from the beginning.
Ah, okay, yeah.
But I have no idea now. There is a sort of star chart map on there. There is all sorts of, as I said, loads of controls and buttons. I'm not exactly sure what it does. I don't know how to find another planet or another moon to go to. I really just...
So you don't even know if you've finished it yet?
But don't think I'm finished with the game, right?
Yeah,
I'm assuming that there's a whole lot more than just that.
I've got no idea.
If you can only name something, if you're the first one there,
3 pillars.
Yeah, it'd be pretty disappointing if there's only 3 things. I'm assuming that there's a whole lot. I don't know how long it would take to beat, or if there even is an end. Maybe it just goes until the end of the season and then you have to start over. I mean, really, this is the type of game I think playing it alone isn't nearly as much fun. If you and I were both attempting it together at the same time, sending messages to each other, being able to give each other hints, I think that could be more fun. But figuring it out on my own and not knowing if there's an ending or what to do with that initial control panel, it loses its fun factor. I mean, I felt like I solved 10 minutes of puzzle in an hour.
Right. But now that you've done your hour, are you interested to go back and try and find more?
Here's what I would say, for me specifically. I'm somewhat curious because I like the puzzle element to it. I like the fact that you really have to piece it together. You really have to fill in the gaps on your own. And if we were to do it for an episode of filling in the gaps, then yes, I would have a reason to want to do it, and we'd be explaining a very difficult to understand puzzle and just game in general to our listeners. But just me on my own? Not really. And most of that comes down to the tags. So the 3 tags I would give it were Explore, Walking Sim, and Puzzle. I will say that there is the puzzle element. Yeah. If I had a 4th, I would say confusing. Yeah. Because it is very confusing. But Explore and Walking Sim, those are really your tags. Those are 2 of your strengths, and those are 2 of my weaker strengths.
I think that's probably why I picked this, because I thought it would piss you off playing it.
I mean, it did at times.
Yeah.
But there was enough puzzle, and I lucked into figuring out just enough to make it so I didn't hate it. And right. I could see wanting to explore it, but again, I don't think I would want to explore it on my own.
So I almost got you with that. I don't feel like I actually did get you with this one then. Damn. Yeah, so you would play it with me. Well, there's another game. Have you heard of Mew Cartographer? It's another game. It's it's not really like this. Mew Cartographer is more like, rather...
Mew, how do you spell?
Like just MU. Mew is in micro, I guess. But it's more like the control panel from the thing, where you've got a picture of a world and you've got all these buttons and you just have to press buttons and see what happens on this planet. And it's like you trying to find stuff on... It's like, imagine you're a satellite looking down onto a planet and it's only about, the size of a coin on the screen. And I gave up, man, after about an hour. I played it and we do have it. We got it in the itch.io bundle.
Okay. Well, then we definitely have it. One of the 1700,
I think. Yeah. But yeah, so obviously you would recommend this to me because it's definitely something.
I don't normally I would say yes. The problem is you just played Outer Wilds. And this seems like a much more basic early version of that. 7 years prior.
It does. Now that you mention it, it's like, because I obviously played this first. It's like, now looking back, it's like, actually, yeah, it's
so I think
very much
you would like it, but the thing is, you loved Outer Wilds so much, this is not, I think, going to scratch that itch. I don't think it's going to be the same. And that graphically, and even from some of the hints you gave me, the story seemed much more interesting to that. And I think that I would be more likely to go, okay, I've played Mirrormoon EP, I would be more likely to play Outer Wilds now than honestly want to jump back into Mirrormoon EP.
What do you think the EP stands for?
I don't know. I was thinking extended play, of course, because I come from the VHS era. Yeah. But I don't know.
I've got no idea.
Extraterrestrial planet?
Maybe, yeah.
As far as anybody else, I mean, it just depends. I think if you get it in a bundle, or if you get it really cheap, I would say maybe give it a try. But I really wouldn't expect anyone to play more than an hour of it unless they really, really liked it. And
it's definitely one of those like very obtuse puzzle games where...
And it is, and if that is your thing, if you want a puzzle that is totally not explained to you and you just have to figure it out by observing, Mirrormoon EP might be a game for you. It would be very specific people that I would recommend this to, and it'd be people who love those tags, and only those people.
So, remorse or confirmation on this one?
For an hour, I would say confirmation. I don't know if I played this for 20 hours if I would feel the same. If it's just as confusing all the way through, or if there's a pattern to it. If I've now figured out some of the basics, if there's always the Mirrormoon, if there's always these same elements to pick up and to put down in the same order, then maybe. Or maybe that would also get boring because I've already figured it out. I'm
not sure. I might be speaking rubbish here, but it might be procedurally generated as well. So it's like even the tools that you find, they won't do the same thing the next time around. And so it's all about resolving.
That would make sense.
Every time. But to me, that sounds like it could become quite old quite quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. What I would say is I know there's no way I paid full price for this game. So
how much is it?
Huh?
How much is it full price? Like,
honestly, I didn't even look. Go ahead and look at that.
I'm going to have a look. Because that would be interesting to see.
So if it's $15, there's no way I paid that. I definitely got this in a bundle somewhere.
I think we got it on the Fanatical at some point.
And it was probably in the lower tier. I would say for that, for what I got out of the hour, I would say, so far, confirmation.
There you go.
Yeah. But if I had to play that stupid control panel again at the beginning, I'm not sure. If I'd hit that twice in the same hour, maybe I wouldn't feel the same.
Buyer's confirmation.
Today, it is Darren's turn to talk about a game. What game did I have you play?
Central Intelligence.
Gosh, I don't even remember why I picked this one. All
Ocean Bundle.
Well, that explains it.
The interesting thing is this is not Pico Interactive this time. It's another publisher.
So you can get more than the 24?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I don't know how to do it. It was way beyond me. I went onto YouTube to see if there was any like other tutorials. Nope. Wikipedia? Nope. They've never even heard of this game.
Well, clearly, this is your niche market. You found it. You could be the king of Central Intelligence.
Oh, God, please, no.
All this and more in the next episode of Buyer's Remorse.